Congratulations on Goon.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Because we talked about this a year ago, probably a year ago.
Yeah.
And so now it's happening. And you told me a year ago, you hadn't started shooting yet. You told me a year ago, this is going to be the best hockey movie since Slapshot.
Yeah.
Now that it's done.
Yeah, without a doubt, unquestionably. And I go so far as to say that we have the best hockey in any hockey movie. Yeah. It's the best hockey committed to film in any movie. And it has teeth, and it hits you in the head like a 2x4. It's loud. It's very, very coarse. It's violent as fuck. But I think that the most important thing, none of what I just mentioned would work or be relevant in any way if you didn't give a shit about what was happening. And I think that the most important thing about this movie is how much, I hate using this word because it's overused, but how much heart it has.
Well, sports movies are all about heart, right? Because I don't think that anyone really expects the final game in a sports movie. Yeah. I mean, you're going to lose by a point, you're going to win by a point. That's and it's exciting, gets your blood pumping a little bit. But I don't think anyone really cares about that as much as they do about the characters. It's not the game at that point. It's who's playing the game. No,
and that's kind of and that's exactly right. And sort of this thing is meant to be look, hockey is as infinite as literature, as music, as food. So there's no way to make a movie about all of it. Yeah. So what we're doing is focusing on one facet of it, and that speaks to what you were just saying. It's about the dude, and we decided, it all came from a very pure place that we believed that it's supposed to be sort of an anthem to the most maligned, least understood position in professional sports, that of the hockey enforcer. Yeah. No single position in any game is more polarizing, is more rife with debate, all these things, and that's who I was raised to love. I grew up in a house where all my dad's favorite players were the Chris Nylans and the John Cordicks, the tough guys, and so I grew up not just an appreciation, but an inherent respect for what they did. And so I decided, I figured these boys deserve their moment in the sun. Because all you ever see in reference to them on television is a bunch of talking heads who deciding their fates for them, passing judgment on what they do. And I thought, they deserve a movie. And that's why it's as violent as it is, because it is not a clean job they do. And just like a soldier who leaves and runs the risk of not coming home, this guy runs the risk of having some very terrible injuries inflicted upon him every time he skates. These are boys that skate, if they're lucky, 4 minutes the entire game. And so that's why Sean, in our movie, he undergoes some very, very, very terrible physical repercussions for this job. And so we're not passing any kind of moral judgment on it, aside from we could take a lesson from these boys about their sort of humble blue-collar work ethic of regardless of what the score is, regardless of how much your teammates like you or respect you, whatever your coach thinks of you, none of that is relevant. All is relevant is giving 100% whenever you're asked. And there's something inherently beautiful in that to me.
Yeah. And being ready to do it at all times. Because you don't know whether you're going to get called out in the first 4 minutes of the game, or you might sit there for 2 hours and get called out in the last 30 seconds.
At the very end, to shift momentum, to send a message, to watch your boys' back. It is a thankless, painful job. And one that I have taken so much inspiration from. And these are the heroes I grew up with. So we're not making light of their job. There's a lot of funny moments in our movie. It's inherently accessible because hockey, being such a blue-collar sport, is inherently funny. The dynamic between the boys is just funny.
And it's called Goon.
It is 100%, and it's a very, very sort of self-deprecating. But we're trying to repurpose and take ownership of that name. And why should that be derogatory? Why? I know as a Habs fan we could use a Goon. So.
Well, I was in Montreal for Just for Laughs recently,
Yeah.
and I had to go see a movie while I was there. I went to the AMC, and I saw Cowboys and Aliens, whatever. On the way out, I saw these seats, these like stadium seats.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, what are those doing here? What an odd place for those. It's from the Forum. I didn't know I was in the old Forum.
You're in the Forum,
Yeah.
yeah, which is this weird... It's a kind of a depressing thing that, like, part of me wishes that thinks that if they're going to tear down the Forum and turn it into a movie theater, it should just be a movie theater.
Right.
That being said, it is wonderful that they kept actual seats from the Forum, and
I was kind of excited by it, I got to tell you. Like, I thought it was pretty cool.
No, and you're sitting in seats that were from the actual Forum. No, and I sit in them every time I go to the movies there at AMC. And out front, we have a sort of little sort of walk of fame, recognizing a bunch of Habs out front of the movie theater. No, but it's weird. Yeah, you'll go to see a movie, and then almost say, I'm actually literally in the Forum right now. Yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah, it was cool. Tell me then, in the news lately, there's been lots of talk about Wade Bello and all, who were enforcers, and there's a lot of talk, which I'm not sure that I really understand, but there's a lot of talk about sort of the emotional toll that it takes on people after they've left the game.
100%.
And do you have thoughts on that? Can you talk about
I do indeed. It's been a dreadful summer, incredibly somber for this game. Rick Rippon and Derek Bugard and Wade Belak, and so, but what I think is happening is sort of two issues are becoming melded into one, because I think this is coming on the end of the most violent 2 seasons in NHL history, and I think that blindside open ice headshots and dirty headshots and elbows to the head, this is taking a toll. This is something that needs to be rectified. I don't think that is the same issue as fighting within the game. That being said, obviously something's not working right. But these are similar issues that have plagued boxers, that have plagued football players. And I think that there's no system in place. There's, when a prisoner gets out of prison, they do they bust their ass to make sure they can integrate themselves back into society. There's nothing like that for soldiers, and there sure as hell isn't nothing like that for hockey players. And so, and the other thing I've noticed is that this great debate about whether or not hockey should be banned and these repercussions, these are never the boys themselves having these questions. These are sort of, this is talking heads passing judgment on what these boys do. Obviously something's not working as well as it should. And obviously, but I suspect that it's more a statement on the lifestyle of a hockey player than it is specifically that position. But again, I don't do it, and I don't fight for a living, so I can't really, I'm not the best to talk about it.
Yeah, what I think, oh, sorry.
3 minutes?
Oh, thanks, Julius. I think that, like in boxing, you don't hit below the belt. You don't,
right.
Like there's rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're still beating the hell out of one another. But there's rules to how it works.
Yeah.
And everyone seems to understand the rules, and the rules go. Now, hockey, you're told, don't hit someone with a stick in the face when they're not wearing a helmet. You're told that, but there's something about the emotion that takes over or something, or the speed of it or something, or there's more people, or there's more people involved. In the boxing ring, it's just 2 guys, and you're just looking at one another like that. So I don't know what it is.
Well, I think also it's the other thing is nobody drops the gloves in the NHL that doesn't actually want to.
Right. Yeah.
It's not the schoolyard, it's not the street, so you're not going to get your ass kicked if your hands are up. Yeah. And so it's one of these things where I think also the bigger the padding and equipment becomes, the more people are chopping each other's heads off and taking less precautions when they go into the corners.
You're protected.
Exactly, and everyone wants to make the highlight reel of drilling some guy in the open ice or something. I think that. Listen, I think that Muhammad Ali would probably say that there's obviously some very clear physical repercussions for what if you do this. That being said, that doesn't mean don't do it, in my opinion. And that's why sort of our movie is it's very truthful, because it says there's a beauty in what he does, but he will really hurt himself doing it. Yeah. Does that mean he shouldn't do it? Is that up for us to decide? But it's more just an anthem for these poor bastards that do this job that is so underappreciated and so relevant and intrinsic to the North American game.
Yeah.